Are you measuring out your COBRA insurance since you left work? Hi, I'm Tommy at medicalinsurancetoday.com. COBRA stands for the Consolidated Omnibus Reconciliation Act. Boring talk. COBRA is a direct extension of the plan that you had through your employment, so it will be a direct replica. It'll have the same copay, same deductible. However, when you go to COBRA, you're paying the full cost of that plan. Now, when you're at an employment, an employer is required to cover a bare minimum 50% of the monthly cost of your health insurance. That is required by the law. So if they're going to offer benefits, the employer has to cover at least half. Now, when you leave work, you're terminated, you resign, whatever the circumstance is, you leave work, you're now, through COBRA, going to be responsible for 100% of that cost, which gets really expensive. And that's the direct reason I would say 95% of people leave COBRA, as most should, will be because of the cost. It's very, very expensive. In contrast, you have options to go into the individual and family plan market. We do a lot of that here at Medical Insurance Today, helping individuals and a lot of self-employed people, anyone that does not get insurance through their employment, we help them find health plans. And when you leave work, the expense of COBRA is directly going to be significantly less expensive by going into an individual family plan than paying for COBRA. Now, there are certain circumstances where people will want to keep COBRA, and it typically will be relative to health issues. You're in the middle of a very significant health concern, having surgery, a recent diagnosis, a number of circumstances where people will just pay COBRA. Many people do it out of just hesitation. They don't want to move because they're fearful to, go into a bad plan or make the wrong decision. And that's something we pride ourselves on here at Medical Insurance Today, is to help walk people through all the details and facets to their health insurance and what we can offer them. So if you're measuring out your COBRA and you're looking at the cost saying, God, this is expensive, but I have health concerns. When we sit down with our consumers, we're talking about prescriptions and doctors and copays and deductibles in great detail to make sure that you are making an informed decision, to make sure that you're making the right decision for your health care. So if you're right in the middle of a health concern and you can't afford COBRA because you just left work, we can walk you through that and make sure that you are getting into the right plan, which will allow you to keep your doctors, allow you to make sure that your prescriptions are covered by the plans that we would propose to you, and that you're not going to miss a beat in terms of care. And as well, more than likely, 95% of the people will save a fortune of money in terms of the cost by moving from COBRA. There's a circumstance where if you're going from work, you just lost work, you now have lower income. Oftentimes, folks that have lost work are going to fall into a Cover California plan, which is a great place to go. I'm on a Cover California plan, and I'm saving a bundle by going through it because our income is not extremely high. So by qualifying into Cover California, you're lowering your cost, and there are great quality plans that cover doctors and prescriptions and all those details, and that's stuff that we work ourselves through. COBRA was originally created in the 90s for folks leaving work that wouldn't qualify into a health plan because of their health. So if you had health concerns when you left work, or had a recent diagnosis, or whatever the circumstance, God forbid you had cancer or some significant issue. In the old days, prior to the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, COBRA was the only insurance that people could get. When you went into the individual and family plan market, you were underwritten. They had to look at your health. They were going to look at whether or not you had cancer or a recent diagnosis or a string of health issues. And oftentimes the insurance companies would decline people for coverage. Those days are past now with the Affordable Care Act. There are no pre-existing conditions considered any longer, which makes COBRA somewhat, I don't want to say obsolete. There are a lot of people that elect to go to COBRA. I would say that's a great mistake because of the cost. And people grab onto it because they say, I just don't want to mess with my insurance. I don't care what the cost is. And that's fair. However, what we do is we take, oftentimes an hour or two to talk you through about your doctors, prescriptions, health concerns, making sure that if we're going to place you into a plan, that you would be able to retain all those doctors, that you're going to be able to have your prescriptions covered and all those details fall into place. The Affordable Care Act has done some really good things. It really has. It's helped a lot of people get insured that otherwise would not have been able to. And it's covered a lot of people over time. It has driven cost up. However, there are some real values in the Affordable Care Act. There's no way around it. So if you're measuring out COBRA, I would highly advise you to look at your other options. Last week, the reason that I'm doing this video today is I spoke with someone that was paying over $2,000 a month for health insurance for him and his wife. We got him down below $1,000. So if you're talking about saving $1,000 or plus a month, that's $12,000 over the course of a 12-month cycle. Over the course of a year, 12 grand, it's a lot of money. That pays your deductible and out-of-pocket expenses on a new potential plan that you could go on to. So it's definitely worth looking into. All of our services are free to our consumers. We don't charge anybody to look at, quoting you and preparing options and discussing in great detail what your options are. So it couldn't hurt to look into it. It's definitely something I would highly advise. So if you're looking at your COBRA saying, man, this is expensive, give us a call. We'd love to help you. MedicalInsuranceToday.com, and we look forward to serving you.